Hey guys, and welcome back. And can you guess what this video is going to be about? Yes, another generator video. This one again was a yard sale find. There wasn't many yard sales out. The weather was kind of crappy this past weekend, but I did find a few. And one of the items I found was this guy right here, which is I won't say a mid-sized generator for a homeowner. It's a 32.5. As you can see, it's been well cared for, by the fact that it looks like it's been left out in the rain and all the dirt is splattered all around it. But I asked about it. He said it was, of course they all ran at one time. They were all new, and he brought it in to get it serviced someplace, and they told him it needs a new carburetor, and I guess he did not want to put the money into it, and bailed on the thing. So he decided to sell it in a yard sale. And I came along, asked him what he wanted for it. He said he wanted 50 bucks. I said, I don't know about that. It's too hard to, if it doesn't make power, it's not worth a damn thing. So I offered 20 bucks. He said, okay. I said, okay. We threw it in the back of my truck. And guess what? Here it is for us to play with. So I figured that's what we will do. It's not, it's not a high-end one. It's probably, I want to say it's probably about 500 bucks new. It's a guesstimation on my part. It's got the Generac name attached to it, or they attached their name to it, probably the better way to say it. But for the most part, it is a clone. Kind of looks like a Honda clone motor, and probably a Honda clone generator actually. See how noisy it is. But if you read the tag, it shows right there. That says made in China, so it kind of gives you a heads up of what we're dealing with. Age, don't have the date on it anywhere. What's that? That's an item number. Yeah, I'd say it's probably within the last 10 years, looking by the style of it. Got a low oil shut off, and I'm sure it probably sat with fuel in it. So what do you say we get set up? Actually, we'll check a few things right away. See what the oil looks like in the thing. I could see some. It looks fairly clean. It's not all punky. So I'm going to be a little bit on the low side, but we'll see. If it has spark, then the low oil shutoff sensor should not be an issue, which is right to the left of my hand right now. But that guy right there, that's the low oil shutoff. So if it doesn't see oil, it just kills the spark. Let me get set up and we'll start doing some homework. Let's see if we can get that plug out of there and check for spark right off the bat. Probably the best way to start. Guys are slipping a little. There was a storm brewing outside. Hopefully the power stays on for us. Yeah, man. Let's go prop that up so you guys can see it. You guys see that? You're still slacking on me. Let me set you up a little bit better. Yeah, let's see. You see it? Alright, there we're looking. Let's go give her a couple of cranks, make sure it's in the on position before we do anything. On. And let's see if we can get some spark. Turn my light off. I see spark. That's a good sign. So let's go get my little fuel bottle. We'll dip a little down in the carb, in the plug hole there rather, and I'll give her a yank and see if she fires up for us. I got my little fuel bottle. Let's see if we can turn our light back on. Give it a little shot down the hole there. hand tight. That should be good enough. Choke is off. Choke is off. Now let's give her. She'll run. I'm going to try doing that again. We're just going to go plug something into the plug and just see if it buzzes, you know, whatever it is. Probably put a light would probably be the best bet. And so I added a light right there. Let's go do the same all over again. And hopefully that lights up. That lights up, then we know we're pretty good for having a viable machine to repair. This is not a very, again, it's not a very valuable machine, so you don't want to put much money into it. Like a lottery ticket, you know, you spend 20 bucks on something, and it may or may not turn out. All right. Let's see what we get. So, fuel is off. Let's see if we can get that float ball out of there and make an assessment for ourselves how bad this thing is. It looks like it's got some debris in it, but I would not call that terrible at all. Let's turn the fuel on. If there's anything, I don't even know if there's anything in the tank. I see it dribbling something out. I'm gonna take a little mirror. We're gonna go poke up inside there. Make sure that that jet is in there and that it looks halfway decent. There is a jet up in there. And it looks like somebody tried taking a screwdriver in there. And it's like the brass got kind of galled away, like they didn't get a good bite on it and it stripped out. I gotta be honest though, it really doesn't look like it's that dirty at all. I think we should maybe put the float bowl back on it. Turn the choke on, see what you get. Maybe a little different angle to look at. So the spark plug's put back in. I think I did. Yeah, I did. And let's go turn the gas on. Float's back on. Let's see what it does. Hopefully it doesn't flood over and start pouring out the intake. And let's give her a little prime that way. We'll close the choke. And we'll give her a tug and see if we can get her to just stay running. How about choke wide open? Smoking some. I'm gonna let it run for a while, open the door. load on it. Well, I see the hunting that it's doing. I wonder if that may have been what the issue is that they were trying to get rid of. But I don't think changing that carb is going to do it. It does not look like they took that off and cleaned it. And it possibly just has a dirty idle circuit on it. So that's what we're going to go do anyway. Is that we'll take the carb off and we'll give it a good cleaning and give it its best shot. But it seems like everything else operates fairly decent on it. I don't think it has a low idle circuit. Probably not on a cheaper unit. No. So that's fine. Alright, so I'm going to start digging in and getting that carburetor off there and we'll give her a cleaning. I got you set up over at the bench. Let's go, we'll take the fuel out of it. Let that go into a white cup. And we'll kind of, I like, again, the white cup just because it shows if there's any water or anything in the fuel. Because if there's water, that will definitely cause the same issue to happen, that surging. But I am suspecting dirt's just from my fingers. I'll let that settle out a little bit and we'll continue to take it apart. I am suspecting again that the idle circuit cut out on it, and because of that the carburetor runs lean, or the machine runs lean when the idle circuit gets clogged, which is under here. They cap that off so you're not adjusting it. Yeah. Usually that's got a screw head in the center of it, because you have to remove that. That's also your idle speed that it hits off of. On a generator it's not very important because you really never go on to idle, but this is the guy we need to get out of there. And a lot of times that passage gets clogged. I can see some debris. I don't know if you guys can see it. There is some debris sitting on the sidewall right there, as I shove a dirty screwdriver in it. So maybe some of the O-rings breaking apart, or let's get the floating needle out of it. And I don't know if you guys can see. Try bringing it right up to you, right down in the center. See the damage I was talking about? So I'm gonna have to work to see if I can get that out of there, but I have a feeling they galled that up so much it's not going to come out, and that's why they said it needed a new carburetor, because they couldn't get that apart. But we'll try. If not, we can actually probably soak it right with that in there and see if we can repair it that way. Well, by looking down in there, I'm not giving it much hope, but this is my best shot. This is just a regular screwdriver, but what I did was I ground the sides of the flutes off. I'll show you a regular one. And it allows you to get down inside there, where if you have, for example, you can see the ends on this one. So this pretty much gives you the best circumference going across without hitting the sides. But I have a feeling we are not going to. Might have actually turned. It's turning. See, a lot of guys try to stick the neck size down screwdriver in there, and when you do that, again, it kind of smashes the sides. There we go. Doesn't look terribly dirty. It might be missing an O-ring on that. I'm not sure. You can see how. Put them down. See what I was talking about? How chewed away it was. It's ramped up onto the sides there. So we shall clean all this. We're going to go soak it in the tank. But it doesn't look terribly dirty. Possibly might be missing an O-ring. I've seen them with and without. But I think we'll just give her the best cleaning we can. Might even look this one up. It might not be terribly expensive. Carburetor is made in Japan. The generator says China, but that's a good sign. But if this is like a $15 or $20 carburetor and we still have an issue, then we will replace it. So I will remember that number. So that's soaking in the can. We'll let that have its bath for a good while. And again, that's what's being used, because every video seems to get the same question asked. So that's what I'm using. They're about $20, Home Depot in my area. I don't know what's available to you, and certain areas prohibit the sale of anything that causes cancer in California. Seems like all the cancer is in California. On the machine, I looked into the gas tank. It looks, actually the fuel looks fairly clean that's in there. I do not see much of an issue inside there. So that should be okay. Again, we're going to want to run that. If this thing goes into storage, we're going to have to drain and run all that out. But they don't have much of a fuel filter. What they have is a little bowl right here. Let's say we go pull that guy down. Go grab the 10 millimeter. And we'll see what that looks like inside there. That does not feel very good coming out. I thought there was supposed to be a screen inside there. Instead, it's just a sediment bowl, and that's clean. You guys probably see better than I can. I can use you guys to look up in there. Nothing. So that is not our issue. Let's give it a quick little. Yeah, peas right through there, no problem. So I don't think there's a restriction of fuel. I think most of our issue is just going to be getting that carb sorted out. A lot of times too, that hunting, you can even, hopefully it tightens up. Please tighten up. We'll stop right there. You can get it by the linkages and stuff too. There's the governor starts bouncing, and sometimes you can change the position of the governor to stop that from happening. But we're not going to play with that until we clean the carb and make sure that comes back. So what I'm going to do now is, while that's cleaning, I'm probably just going to take some time to go over the generator itself. I want to take it and clean all the crap off of it. It's got some like goofy wire stuffed in the wheel here for the retaining clips. I'll cut that stuff off, and we'll get some proper washer with a clip on it on both sides, and you know, that kind of stuff. See if we can get rid of this chicken wiry looking kind of stuff. Maybe we didn't cut it close enough. Trying to do it southpaw. Yeah, man. There we go. And let's go check out the Harbor Freight clips. I would say, I think that's a little too beefy. Think I had an oil spill here at one time. Let's see if that'll even fit in the hole. we'll go with that. I'll do the same on the other side. I'm getting ready to put that car back together. I took it out of the soaker and blew it off and out, and the passages out with air. Down inside here, and I don't take me to task on this, but this is how I believe how this one is set up to work. This is the idle jet kind of mix, and if you look at, let's do it in the right direction. All right, so that port is, where'd you go? Right here. That's that port. Now you can kind of see that this is the main jet. So when you're up off of an idle, this is what's doing most of the work as far as how much fuel and air is going into the engine. And as the throttle changes, it changes. But generally, it's the main part is that, and the internals are here. Here's the emulsion tube and the jet. So this is jammed up inside of there, and you can see all the little holes kind of going around it. That's kind of where it's getting broken up into a mist to go up and get drawn out, because you want the tinier you can make the pieces, the better it burns. So you're trying to bust it up getting into the engine. And then you want to adjust how much fuel is going up there so it's the right mix for the air and fuel going into the engine. You need a sweet spot for it to run good. So you have a jet that has a fixed size hole in the bottom of it, and that's the last thing. After that is in there, this goes up, and it allows just so much fuel to be drawn up, to be metered correctly. So that's why you adjust the jets in that. But anyway, going to the idle part of it, not that a generator really needs an idle circuit, because it's always running high unless it's one of the ones that kick down to an idle, but in this circumstance. But anyway, the way the car was designed is it has also an idle circuit, and that kind of branches off, and you can see this bump that sticks out of the side here and goes up into there and through this plastic jet. And that's got a, you're not going to be able to see it, but it's got a very tiny pinhole in it, and then it gets drawn through that hole. So it's just kind of the same idea, just on a smaller version up there. And that is for when it's idling, to be able to fine tune the idle a little bit better and still have that mist kind of going in it. So if that's not working, it's not going to idle. If it's clogged, if it goes to idle, it's just going to drop right off. That's where you get that hunting, because it's going to idle and then it's trying to rev back up again. On a lot of machines, that's usually the first part that shows up on a dirty carburetor. Where was I going with this? Anyway, this still contributes to this when you're, say, half throttle. We use that for an example. So running at half throttle, it's getting, we're going to say 95 or 90% of its intake from there and 10% from there. And I'm just making numbers up. If this isn't working, this isn't doing what it should be, and then it is making the mixture lean. And when it runs lean, it also likes to hunt also. So that's how that can contribute to the problem that we're having on this one. And all this is just a guess that I am surmising on mine. We can put it back together, it's going to do the exact same thing. But that's just kind of the area I was steering towards, because I know that's what it does. So that's why I was kind of looking in that area. There was some debris up inside there. I cleaned it out with the Q-tip. Some chunks and stuff were in there when I took that out. So there was, possibly it was an issue there. Anyway, long enough rant. I just kind of want to explain the idea that what it's doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to add to that just a little bit, just so if I don't want to lose people. When I say it's running lean, it's running not enough fuel. Too much air, not enough fuel. Is lean and is rich. Rich is the other direction, where it's when the choke's on, you're running it rich. So that's what we're talking about here with the mixture. Is when I'm saying lean, it runs hot, and it causes surgy kind of issues too, because it gets to the point where it's almost too thin to burn. So it starts hunting, trying to find an area where it will. I don't know if that made sense or not. Alright, so let's go put it back together. I got that blown up pretty good. I want this guy to be, now that'll have such a tiny tiny hole in it. I'm gonna look up at a light and see if I can see through it. The wire is so thin, the hole is so thin because it is, again, doing very little, that it's hard to find something to poke it with. A lot of guys use pipe cleaners, torch cleaners, sorry. Yeah, I know you're not gonna be able to see that, but I could see it in the hole there. I could see that I got a passage going through it, so I know that's open. Just gonna blow some air through it. Make sure we're gonna pop that guy back in there. And it gets kind of seated and held in. This is the idle speed adjustment screw, and we want you right there. And it looks like they made it so it's less tamper proof. Normally there's an X or whatnot in there you can kind of adjust. Now it's just a thumb screw. Not that you can't grab it with your fingers. And that needs to clear the jet. I might be sitting a little proud. I might have to get. No, it's all right. But this kind of holds that. Just that we're rubbing it on a little bit. And we're going to leave her right about there, and then we'll fine tune it when we get around. Let's blow out the main jet. Emulsion, rather. As I said, I don't know if that is supposed to have an O-ring on it or not. I'm not sure. Maybe it went. It's got the taper on top for the Venturi. You go that way, and then the main jet. What do I do with that? Just gonna eyeball the center of that. That's where all the money happens, right there. Other than the fact that it's chewed up on top pretty bad in the screw, she's got a clean hole. That's a good thing. Rather have them beat up and have a clean. Should I be saying this? You get the idea. All right. So, okay, put the needle and the float back on it. Where is the needle? Is the needle soaking still? The needle's on the float. Right. I'm just going to blow that off with some compressed air and hold on to it real good. That's just the needle that allows the fuel on and off. It's the on and off switch for the gas coming into the carburetor. In layman terms. I would like a little paper towel. I'm just going to wipe down some fingerprints I got on that float. Looking at its side, and you can see that it's almost level. It's a good rule of thumb. It's not a necessity, so that's where it's going to be, but a good place to start. And this is the fuel inlet. I'm going to blow through it, and no, I should not be able to blow air through it at all. But if I flip it over and the float hangs down, I should be able to blow air through it, which I can. We're going to blow a little. It sounded a little foggy to me. Yeah, there was some shit in there. Alright. I think we're good to go to the float bowl. Button that up, I think we can go put her back on. There's not much to these carbs, they're fairly simple. Crud is the number one enemy. I'm not sure which way that was facing. I'm gonna tighten that bowl up when it's on the machine so that I can point the drain towards where I can get it. I have a good idea where it goes. I think it goes roughly like that. Let's see how close I get. Alright, let's go put her on. That's tucked back in there. Other than the air cleaner. The air cleaner is what kind of holds everything together. So, I'm going to put the fuel line back on too. Right up against the tire. There it goes. I feel like I'm 10 years old trying to put stuff together with the cast on. You have to like learn all over again. Alright, let's buzz that in. Leave the air cleaner off it for now. The air cleaner will cause it to run a little bit richer too, but we'll just keep that into consideration. Just want to see how it works. If we need to squirt fuel in it and stuff to get it going, we can, that kind of thing. How did I make out? Yeah, I made out good with the float direction. Right on. Just need to tighten it down. Alright. That, the breather, goes on. Crankcase breather. I think we're good to fire it up maybe. Let me get some stuff off the bench. You know, it's not very impressive when you fire it up and it rattles off. Let's, I think we're ready to go. Where do you guys want to be? Where you can see, right? Alright, how about right there? On. Choke is on. My throttle is binding somewhere. What do I have wrong? I think it's hyperextended. That's exactly what it is. I got it past the linkage hyperextended. I gotta loosen the two screws up, pull it out a little bit, and flip it so it's that way. Looks proper. I have to try it again. Okay. So it's like the next day on this, and I had to go think about this overnight time, what I want to go and do. And the reason why is because something happened along the way to the point of success, was the fact that the generator internally, the governor, decided to shit the bed. And unfortunately, to fix that, you have to take the engine off the generator and split the engine down and get into it. It's internal. And it's a bunch of work. So I made the executive decision, considering I'm the executive of me, that it is not worth putting the time into. So I decided to take this one and punt and that's what's going to happen. So what's happened is this is the governor arm. Internally, there's a inside there's a governor. Something fell apart inside there, whether it was when I took the carburetor off and I tugged on this, that something hyperextended and fell apart or broke or was on the way to breaking, or I'm not quite sure. It might have been already starting to go. I kind of doubt that, but I have a feeling when I took the carburetor apart and I was taking the linkage off, something fell apart internally. So with that, it's going to be a debt project. Again, that's the whole thing with you buying stuff at yard sales. You don't want to pay much for them because sometimes they do turn out like this. Again, I paid 20 bucks for this. 20 bucks is other stuff that I could steal off of it and use right away. My garbage can has broken wheels on it, so that's the first thing that's going to get robbed. And of course, you know, we can steal bits and pieces and coils and air cleaners and that kind of thing, and we'll keep them in the stash. And this may come back in another video in a different fashion. I have an idea for it because it does still run, but we'll cross that when we get there. So with that, unfortunately, I'm going to go sign this one off here. And people always say they're always success. Are they always successful? Well, here you go. Here's one that's really not. It could be, but it's just not worth the time. You know, I value my time. I call it 50 bucks an hour. And how many hours am I going to put into getting this apart and repaired? I would say I would have 3 hours in it. And what's it going to sell for around my area? It's probably a $150 generator on the used market. So you know, at that point you're making nothing. I'd rather take that 3 hours of time and put it into something that is more to my liking, you know, instead of breaking down even, which is something like that. So with that, I'm going to go sign off. I want to thank all you guys so much for watching, commenting, subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully that one's a little more successful.